Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Mental Health Podcast with myself, Matthew Riggs, Hayley Overall, Ed Archer, and today we have got Kai De Costa, pain champion, on the podcast. How are we doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, I'm gravy, thank you.
We're going to start that again. That was rubbish.
Don't matter.
Would you like to start that again? Anyway, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Happy mental health. Yeah, public speaker as well. Yeah.
Public speaker, pain champion.
Squeaker. Yeah.
Right, let's-
Oh, no, don't, because you will.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Mental Health Podcast with myself, Matthew Riggs, Hayley Overall,
Yo.
Ed Archer, and today we've got Kai De Costa, public speaker, pain champion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riggs. It's lovely to be here today, guys.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much. It's been a lovely day so far, meeting you all a lot, and meeting you again and meeting you all a lot today. And yeah, it's been nice. I've really enjoyed myself. So,
Good. So, obviously you've got this flipping pain, and obviously you've been, before we got on the podcast, you were sort of trying to tell us, said,
Yep.
keep it to yourself, let's have it on the podcast.
Yep. So I'm going to jump in with a bit about myself. So in 2015, 8th of May, I got in a road traffic accident. Used to be a mechanic. Used to work doing motorsport on the weekends and just doing, HGV car mechanics, motorbike mechanics during the week. And on my way to work one day on a motorbike, got taken out by a car, woke up. Well, all I remember is waking up in intensive care, a week later or whatnot. And apparently what happened was, car hit me. I flew over the car, so did the bike. First time I've ever flew. And the last, it turns out. It turns out that the nerve that controls my left arm, it's called the brachial plexus, for anyone out there that wants to know. It ripped out my spinal cord.
Terminology. Thank you.
Yeah, and it pulled out my spinal cord, meaning that my left arm doesn't work. It's been dead since 2015. But they didn't notice, but for 4 years, in essence, I was walking around with a herniated spinal cord. And basically, my left side of my body was just slowly dying. They did a nerve graft operation when they took a nerve out of my left leg, put it in my left shoulder. But obviously, that didn't work because they didn't notice that the herniated spinal cord was there. It wasn't sending signals to that side of my body. So I was slowly, in essence, my body was just dying around me, but no one knew. And one day I went for physio on my left arm, and the doctor looked at both of my legs and was like, your left leg is two inches in circumference smaller than your right leg.
And you hadn't noticed.
I didn't notice anyway. Obviously, I was like, I wasn't a gym bro at this time. I had no knowledge about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was wasting away anyway. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things. And I was like, okay, so what could that be? So I assumed it was because they took a nerve out of my left leg and put it in my shoulder. Yeah, but it turns out that the way it works is the signals get sent down and then come back up. So it was the signal going down that was damaged. So it was from the spinal cord, and that's why they gave the scan. Noticed that my spinal cord is herniated. At this point, I got back to my normal life, in essence, got used to the left arm being dead, and I managed to get to university. I was studying psychology. I was only there for 2 weeks when I got a call. Ring the ring. Hello, spinal surgeon on the phone. Literally. And I thought, I finally got my life back together, and then the rug got pulled from underneath my legs again. And they said, you need an urgent invasive spinal operation. And this happened in 2018. Unfortunately, I went, you know what, I'm going to drop out of uni because I have to for this op. And I'm lucky I did, because I woke up from that surgery paralysed from the neck down, which was terrifying. I was paralysed from the neck down, but also had something.
Had they given you any precaution that might happen?
Yeah. So when you go in for an experimental spinal operation, they give you a bit of paper saying, if you can't piss, poo, if you can't walk, if you die, if anything happens during this operation, your family can't sue. It's on you. I can't really blame the doctor because I needed it, and it's one of those things. So I woke up, but thank God it was only temporary neck down paralysis, shall I say. So within like a few days rather, my upper body regained movement, but my legs from the waist down, they were shattered. There was no signals being sent. So I had to do, a long intensive walking rehabilitation, neurological physiotherapy, stuff like that. Managed to get back on my feet, got back to university in 2019 for my first year again. But I was in agony. I was in so much pain. And I was like, why am I in more pain than I've ever been? I thought they sorted me out. I thought they fixed me. My spinal cord was not herniated anymore. Well, that's what I thought. And so I went for a few scans, and they said that where they did the surgery, the scar tissue inside my spinal cord was growing too much. I was healing too much, in essence. Yeah. I think God sent too many blessings that day. And it was basically acting like a strangulation inside my spinal cord. So the scar tissue was basically causing like an internal strangulation effect, which was sending horrendous neuropathic pains through both my arms. It's called bilateral neuropathic pain. So I managed to get through my first year, barely. 3 out of 7 days a week, I was in bed. Like, you see those videos of those people shaking in bed in pain, screaming. That was literally me.
So this was before lockdown? Yes.
This was before lockdown, yeah. This would have been in 2019.
This would have been really helpful for you, because you could have done online learning. That would have been silver lining.
Well, this is the thing. When it hit 2020, And they say, look, you need another spinal operation. This scar tissue is growing too much, and it can, it's going to cause you agonizing pain. So you need to get rid of this scar tissue in essence. So I went in for the operation, and this was during lockdown 2020. It was Christmas Eve, actually, because of the pandemic, there was no free hospital beds. The only time there was over Christmas, because
I actually remember speaking to you when you was going to go in.
And and it was and I unfortunately woke up from that surgery waist down paralysed again, and in more pain than ever. So I was like, wait, I'm more disabled, I'm more pain.
Brilliant.
And so what does the doctor say? You need no spinal op, Kai. And me, like the numpty I am, I went, yeah, you're a doctor, you're the top of your field. His name was Barry White, lovely doctor. And to be honest, incredible surgery. Incredible surgeon, rather.
What did he hope to achieve this time?
Well, in essence, he wanted to get rid of my pain. So I was like, okay, going for this operation. I went in for this operation.
Got rid of the scar tissue. So what was they doing to you this time?
Well, this was they tried to get rid of it a bit more or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, they obviously get paid well for these operations, don't they?
Tweak a little bit more. Okay.
Well, it was a weird one. So I went in for the operation. This was March 17th, 2021 at this point, still lockdown. And I woke up from that in more pain and more disabled than ever. And at this point, I was like,
You're done.
I'm done. And well, the thing is, like, doing neurological physiotherapy is difficult. Doing it with one arm, barely any use of your legs, and in severe debilitating pain is near enough impossible. So I was like trying my hardest, but I was in a wheelchair at this point for over a year. I was really struggling. And honestly, I thought this time that was it. I genuinely thought I was never going to walk again.
Did you then start psychologically thinking, like, what's the point?
Like,
well,
dark
you guys know the song Suicide Hope, don't you?
Yeah.
That's why I wrote that song, because I wrote that song in between my first and second spinal op, when I truly believed at that time in my life I was going to be in pain for the rest of my life. And I was just saying that, at the end of the song, it says, if I'm going to go through this pain every single day, I'm going to, basically, in essence, I'm going to make it worth it. I'm going to help people and inspire people. That's what I said. And that's why I wrote that song, because, they call it suicide pain.
So how did you reach that attitude? Because that's very, like...
It's a mature attitude to have.
To be put through all of that again and again. A lot of people would have just been depressed and resentful and bitter. And so how did you flip that around? Did you have therapy? Did you have people supporting you?
I mean, I have the best family in the world. Like, truly, my mum's a saint. My dad is insanely smart, and he's a good motivator. My siblings I couldn't ask for a better family. And then pair that with the best friends in the world. I have incredible support network. And this is why I really say to people, you want to succeed in life, you surround yourself with those people who can aid it.
It's an environment thing, isn't it?
100%. Birds of a feather flock together. And then in this situation, I was surrounded by the best fucking birds. Do you know what I mean? Like, these people were the creme de la creme. So I struggled, don't get me wrong, and some days wanted to give up, as we all do some days. We all have our internal conflicts and stuff. Nah, and that's the thing. I stayed on top of it. And there's obviously something in me that when I face a struggle, I just go, do you know what? This is another challenge, another obstacle for me to get past.
Yeah. Well, that's credit to your family. They're bringing you up properly.
They've done a good job.
We actually did a live, didn't we, as well, during lockdown?
We did indeed.
Because obviously we spoke about struggles and trying to inspire each other and all that sort of thing. So I know how much pain you was in and how much we were going through at the time. I tried to send you a few t-shirts.
Well, you've been, mate. You have
t-shirts.
Well, you guys above and beyond. But it's the thing. Like, I met you after. That would have been before. That was after my spinal op in 2018.
Yeah, I remember you.
But it was before all of the other two that really messed me up.
Yeah.
So I met you, and we met on a train, didn't we? And we had a nice conversation and stuff. I talked about my story, and then you showed me your Instagram, showed me your story, and I was just like, "This is a small world, man."
All this one-up shit.
Yeah, I think I won. No, but it was one of those. It was and it was nice because obviously every time you went to the gym, you always played my music. You was always supporting me, stuff like that. And then I remember when I was going through the really bad walking rehab when I was really disabled and I really couldn't get around and stuff. And you were like, sending me all those Fat to Fit tops, and you were obviously getting to the gym. And it was nice.
It's like, never give up.
That was it, yeah. And then this brings me on to what happened after. So bring me to 2022. It's the summer of 2022. Just finished my second year of university. I did it in agonising pain. I did it on a mobility scooter because I was learning how to walk while going through my second year of university. So I was like, I don't know how on earth I managed to pass it and do well.
Did your friends want to hop on the back though?
No, mate, everyone did. Uni lecturers wanted to have a go. I'd go out on a night.
Like they see me rolling.
Literally, you laugh, but that was literally it, man. Yeah, I was that guy in Manchester playing music, blaring it on his mobility scooter. Like,
Did you have little alloys on?
no, yeah, I actually got a Tesla badge for it. I was like, I mean, like, it's electric, it'll pass, won't it? Like, but yeah, it was the summer of 2020, and at this point, 3 spinal ops, agonising pain, more disabled than ever. Obviously, learned to walk. I managed to learn to walk at this point, stuff like that. But the surgeon said, once again, you need no spinal op. Now, at this point, fool me fucking once. Do you know what I mean? Well, or rather, 3 times. Like, I think it's fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you.
Yeah,
shame on 3.
it.
Shame on science.
Shame on me.
Shame on I butchered that, didn't I? I actually butchered that. But yeah, it's shame on both of us. That's the one. And at this point, it was the 4th op, and I was like, I can't do this. I would be an idiot to do this because, you know,
Track record.
You, had
Well,
some- you got yourself back to
Yeah.
some form of
Yeah.
life, didn't you?
well, and I was
still
like, I
dealing with
don't think I could psychologically deal
No.
with another, you know, if that 4th operation was to do anything like the other 2, I just wouldn't be able to deal with it, I don't think. I just would have been like, that would have broke me. That would have been the icing on the cake. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start looking into pain myself. I'm going to start researching it. I'm not at
pain
uni.
management.
Yeah, or just techniques and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So anything other than surgery and medication, because at this point I was on, what was it? It was on 600 mg gabapentin. They use it for epilepsy. It's a gabapentinoid medication, neuropathic pain medication. I was on 600 of that 4 times a day, and that alone is enough to make you loopy and out and just brain fogs and stuff like that. Not really in reality at that point. Then I was on opioid medication on top of that, like codeine or whatnot.
Right.
I was on the Proxin anti-inflammatory hand medication, and that stuff with all the other stuff destroyed my stomach, so they put me on a metrazole to help my stomach lining.
That's what I had.
And then because of all the opioids, I couldn't go to the toilet, so I was on laxatives. And plus all the operations, all the learning how to, you know, use your body again.
I'm surprised you didn't get addicted to one of those.
Well, this is the thing. So
Yes.
I was on all that, and I was trying to do a degree in psychology, and it just, those two don't correlate.
No.
You can't be that mashed up all the
No.
time and focus on such an intensive degree. So I really didn't want to be on this medication, but I felt like it was my crutch. I felt like I couldn't live a life without it at this point. So I started reading this. One day I was on a train actually. I don't know where I was going. I think I was going to see a girl or something, and I was reading this book called Explain Pain by Lorimer Moseley and David Butler. If anyone out there is in chronic pain, read this book. It's absolutely remarkable. Genuinely changed my life. How do you
What's it called again?
Explain Pain? David Butler, Lorimer Moseley. Incredible book. It basically goes through a lot of the research, a lot of the knowledge, and all contemporary knowledge, all the recent stuff we know about pain. And what this book was basically telling me was that, you know, pain is a biological thing. Obviously, it needs nerves, it needs all the biological mechanisms. Like, you know, when you get a cut and you feel pain, it does, you know, that's called nociception, that biological mechanism. But pain itself is a psychological experience. Because you can get heartbroken and be in pain. You can lose a loved one. You can, you know what I mean, and be in pain. So pain can't just be a biological mechanism. It has to be a psychological and sociological mechanism as well. So this book was basically explaining me for the first time the psychosocial elements that contribute to pain. And it was also explaining to me that chronic pain, when it's persistent for, I think it's defined by the NHS as persistent pain for 12 weeks or more, regardless of treatment or therapies, interventions. So chronic pain, that persistent pain that lasts longer than 12 weeks, is completely different to that acute pain when you get a cut or a bruise or anything like that. Acute pain works just like this. I give you a flick, you feel something, you get a pain, and then what your brain does is it goes, oh, there's a danger, send that signal up, acknowledge it, sensation, pain. Now, persistent pain is a bit more complicated. It's not as, you know, it involves emotion, it involves a lot of things. So the best way to explain it, I'm sorry to put you through this again. I've already explained this into him today. is a car alarm. So you've got that one car in your street. You know, it's 4 a.m. It's a heavy, you know, storm or whatever, and that one car, gust of wind hits it, and the alarm goes off. Now, that isn't really a danger, is it? That gust of wind. It's not causing the car any damage, but the car is perceiving it as being damaged, and it sends the alarm off. That's a potential threat, in essence. So that's like someone with persistent pain. What's happened is that car alarm is more sensitive than all the other cars. And my alarm system, my pain system that I've developed over time and we developed for evolution to keep us protected, to keep us from harm, keep us from damage, has become so oversensitized because I've been through such trauma and such threat.
Body's protecting us.
Well, that's it. My body's hyper protecting myself. It's going, you need more protection. You need to be more sensitive to threat. To the point where now I don't even need to be cut. I don't even need to be hit by a car. All I need is a gust of wind and I will get that pain. But it's the same as when you watch TV and you see a motorbike crash on TV. That motorbike crash, my brain goes, oh, you had a motorbike crash. That's a threat. So it will look at that crash happen and I'll get a pain.
Interesting.
And it's like...
And your body's evolved isn't it, to protect it?
Well, that's the thing. You know, your prefrontal cortex is the part of your mind that is you in essence. It gives you a personality, stuff like that. It's it's the newer part of our evolved brain, and it's a very complex system. It has all of your memories, all of your past traumas, all your happy stuff, everything. Your whole existence is comprehended in that part, and pain has to work its way into that and associate with that. So like actually, as we were talking about earlier with your migraines, you have chronic migraines.
Yeah, of course.
And I can guarantee the more stressed you are, the more you get migraines. Because when you're stressed, you feel under threat. You know about the fight or flight or rest and digest states? You have your central nervous system, you have part of your central nervous system called the autonomic nervous system, and you have two parts of that, your parasympathetic and your sympathetic. Your parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, chilling, having a nice day. Your fight or flight is your sympathetic nervous system. Now, when you're anxious, when you're stressed, your body goes into fight or flight. What does fight or flight do? It sends all of your blood, sends all of your, basically all your energy to parts of your body needed to fight and flight. But that means it's not sending blood and all the energy to parts of your body used for healing, for resting and digesting. So what we tell people in chronic pain is you are running in fight or flight constantly. You are living a stressful life.
Primal, isn't it?
Yeah, you are running, but you're not letting yourself get out of it. And imagine you're in pain. You get a chronic pain, and you've been in chronic pain for 8 years. You get shoot. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and go, whoop-de-doo-da, I'm in chronic pain. No, you're going to be like, oh my God, not again. I hate this. Is this never going to end? You're going to catastrophize it.
Yeah.
What does catastrophizing do?
Exactly.
That makes you more stressed. That gets you amped up. And it gets you in more pain.
That is just exactly with my migraine. So I get one and I hate them. I literally hate them with a passion. And when I do get one, I get so worked up about it that I've had one.
Yeah.
That I end up stressing myself out about it, and then I go through the whole rest of the week after when I haven't got a migraine, thinking about getting another migraine.
Yes.
So I spend the whole week thinking it's going to come in a minute. It's going to come in a minute. It's going to come.
And then that is what induces it, because you're not. Your body is then, this is the thing, like neurologically on like a endocrine level, looking at your hormones and stuff like that. When you're stressed, when you're frightened, you release cortisol, norepinephrine, all these hormones and stuff like that. These fight or flight hormones, they get you amped up. So if that's what's putting you in pain, it's easy to know what's going to take you out of it. You need to learn to relax. You need to learn to engage meditative practices in your life. You need to.
Sounds easier said than done.
Well, it's and the thing is, it's very idiosyncratic. What makes you chill and what makes me chill are completely different things. There's not a magic pill. There's not a magic. This book, this flipping pain recipe, it's 6 key messages, but it's not a menu of how to get out of pain. It's not a guide, because that's up to you. You need to figure out what makes you tick, and you know what I mean? Because for me, I can watch the TT on TV and see a crash and I'm in agony.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get a migraine looking at that. That's not your thing. Your stress is probably linked to, maybe falling back into overeating, or maybe, picking up a bottle.
Or family.
Do you know what I mean? Or families, your kids, everything like that. Do you know what I mean? Your triggers are completely different to mine. So you need to figure out through, and this is the thing, in life, be it losing weight, getting rid of pain and everything, everyone wants a magic pill. Unfortunately,
instant gratification. Yeah.
If you want to get there, it takes hard work, determination, and a lot of energy. And so for me, it took a lot of reading, it took a lot of knowledge. But that's why I'm so proud to be working with these people flipping pain, because we're now a public health campaign that goes around teaching people in pain and healthcare professionals. Because you'll be surprised, actually, how many surgeons like mine don't know about the psychosocial elements of pain.
Oh, sure.
Well,
thing is, a lot of surgeons, they're very, and that sounds really harsh, but they see people, when they're on the operating table, like I've spoken to surgeons, I've known doctors, effectively, they take that emotion out. They don't see a person, they just see...
Well, you can't.
They effectively
you're cutting them up
like a bit of meat. Like, literally, this is what I've got to do. And you can't, you're not allowed to link that with emotion, because then obviously, as a surgeon, you can't link, doing surgery with emotion, because you're not going to be able to do it.
Well, that'll put you in fight or flight. You don't want the surgeon in fight or flight, running there jittery. You're like, you'll end up like me then, wouldn't you? Like, it's not the one, man.
So they have to specialise in that specific area. So
this is it.
I'm not obviously not.
What they do is amazing.
No, 100%. And there is a need. There is a need for surgeons.
It's very general. Very general. So how,
But I think when you have that surgery, I think you need. I think you potentially there need to be a team in place when you have surgery. Not just here's a surgeon, here's the ward, here's the pain management, go home. You need that link between the pain management, that kind of psychological aspect.
Well, that's what they call MDTs, multidisciplinary, teams, basically.
Like that holistic.
Yes, and that's it. And that's why every time you now go to a pain clinic, they've got psychologists there now. Because that catastrophizing thing.
It's very modern.
Well, that's what we're trying to get out there. We're trying to, I was doing a lot of work with, this is a very long name for a group, but it was the Manchester Neuro Rehabilitation Community Care and Patient Group.
I hope they're anagram that.
Yeah, there you go. Jesus Christ, I don't think they did, and that group, that was a group that worked in Manchester, and I worked with it. It was like a board of patients that worked together to try and help and improve neurological rehabilitation services in Manchester. And one of the biggest things that they've done is basically get a psychologist in a lot of the pain teams. Because a lot of these people that are struggling in chronic pain, they've been told everything about their biological history. They've been told everything about their injury. But they've never been given any support
or
for the psychological things that they've been through. Imagine, if we treated PTSD as just, a fight or flight, it's not even that. It's just, what was it? We used to call it shell shock and stuff like that. These people were just worried. We didn't really look into it and stuff like that. And I think a lot of the time we're doing that with pain. We're looking at it as this biological thing and we're ignoring the huge complexities that play into it. And it's, it's one, and that's what I really want to dedicate my life to at the moment. I'm doing obviously a master's in health psychology. I want to become a pain psychologist at one point, working with flipping pain. I work at a physio clinic where I've done some research looking into the links between personality and chronic pain, which was really cool.
That's really interesting.
Because
I'd love a deep dive. I'd love for you to assess our triggers to see. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. When I'm qualified, that's what I want to do.
Retreats. That's the only way you're going to do that.
Yeah, well, I see. Yeah.
No, but what it does impact someone's ability to deal with certain pain threshold, like the old school, for me, I work with lots of females, and obviously some go through childbirth and they're like, I coughed and it was fine. Some are like, it was pain, whatever. It'd be so interesting
to look at why some people had.
I would love that.
I think you've just opened my eyes to something, as in regards to one of my triggers for my headaches as well. Obviously, I lost a lot of people recently, over the last sort of 4 years. I lost a lot of family, a lot of family, like brother, dad, nan.
Yeah, I remember the
my family's not that big anyway, so I struggled. And actually, be open with you guys. This week, I've struggled massively, emotionally. I've been an absolute wreck. This week, I really
sorry
struggled.
to hear that, really.
And I find it hard when my wife goes away.
Yeah,
because I always think something's going to happen to her, like the worst is going to happen to her.
Well, which makes sense given.
So if she's got to go somewhere, I don't know, she's got to do, or she's on the road, she's travelling a lot, something like that.
Catastrophise.
Yeah, I always think the worst thing is going to happen, and I end up getting myself so worked up. When she went to France and whatever, I got myself into such a state. I had the worst migraine. I literally was so ill. There was nothing wrong. She was fine. Everything was fine. But now I realise what you've just said. I feel like I've had a therapy session with you. What you've actually said, it makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
It does make a lot of sense.
Well, the thing is, a lot of this is. It's not common sense because it would be past that in a way, but it is very logical rationalism. None of it is. You don't need. This is the thing that we tell people.
Like out there hippie thinking.
It's the thing. People see this. People see this as an alternative holistic therapy type thing, and I'm like, it is in some sense, but. I'm not going to prescribe you a herbal supplement. I'm not going to say, I'm just going to tell you the basic understanding. And this is why one of the messages, I believe the fifth key message, this is it. Understand your pain can be key. Because for me, that book, that understanding was the thing I needed to realise that it was my thinking. It was a eureka moment, dude. I literally look back at it like it was yesterday. It's so vivid in my mind because 8 years. This is what's crazy. I had 3 spinal operations. I had a nerve graft operation. I had all the neurological. I had 3 stints of organ rehabilitation. I had to, all of the nurses, GP, psychology, all of the appointments, consultant appointments, all of that happens within 8 years of being as disabled as I was and in much pain as I was. And that book was the first time my pain felt validated.
Yeah.
That was the first time I genuinely had knowledge and I went, this actually makes sense.
It's a bit like a diagnosis and a confirmation, isn't it? You just go, it's putting reasons behind it, isn't it?
Well, I had a moment where before I had this knowledge and this awareness that flipping pain give and explain pain give, I had a moment where I thought I was like the biggest empath in the world because I would see someone like in pain on TV and I'd get pain.
Yeah, you'd go, I have this.
And I'd be like, and I was like, oh my God, I am literally feeling I am an empath of the most, do you know what I mean? The creme de la creme. I was like, these dreads are doing something. I'm picking up the signals of life. I was literally amazed. And and I thought, well, and that's what my thought process was until I read this book and learned something about mirror pain, which is makes sense. You see the trigger, you see that thing, your body thinks, oh, that relates to your triggers, relates to your threat, what triggers your pain, and it triggers the pain. So then it's like, and it's that simple. It's not that I'm picking up the psychic energy through the TV and all that. It was just, oh, that's a threat. I'm under threat. Body thinks I'm under threat. Cortisol, boom, pain, done. And it's crap. But then the beautiful thing about that, if you're conditioned to experience pain and you're conditioned to have these triggers, you can decondition yourself. So that's why the last message is recovery is possible. Because counter to what people think, look, people, I still get pain. I still get chronic pain. I still get flare-ups. I still go through it. But I am recovered because I live a normal life. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I eat well. I socialise. I live. I'm happy. I have my life back.
So what do you do with your pain now? What's your...
So I obviously, so a big part of it is sleep. Just like anyone who goes to the gym, as you guys know, if you're not,
I love almighty,
if you're not recovering properly, there's no point in engaging in the exercise in the first place. So it's like sleep is the part, the state of mind that you need to recover. It's the creme de la creme of rest and digest, especially that REM and deep sleep. You get REM sleep and deep sleep, you are going to be lifting better tomorrow. You're going to be happier tomorrow. You're going to have better mental health, everything like that. So sleep is a huge part. I do a lot of yoga and a lot of meditation now. Normally in the morning, first thing I wake up, I like do yoga and stretching because that
creates your state for the day.
It does, and it's a really lovely way to start the day. There's thing obviously nutrition is a huge part. If you're eating loads of crap food that's inflammatory and it's it's not, then your body's
make you feel crap too.
Exactly, and it's going to give you the brain fog. It's going to beat you down.
Right,
biscuits. Moderation's key.
Hey, everyone needs a biscuit once in a while.
It is.
Well, it is bulking season.
Yeah, I'm loving bulking season. I didn't realise what bulking was. I didn't realise you just eat loads of beautiful food and go gym and worried about it in the summer. I didn't realise that's what it was.
But it's eating good food too.
Yeah.
Misconception, like you said,
that's it.
Physical and mental health, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just look, if you're living a healthy lifestyle and you're giving your best, giving yourself the best fighting chance at this life, everything's going to be better. Your mental, your physical, your pain, everything's going to come. It's going to become better. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's different as well. Some people out there are physically broken, and this is what they need to know. There are people out there that have got a lot of pain because there is an injury that they need to see into. 100%. Yeah. But if they've had fibromyalgia is a great example of persistent pain. Endometriosis, a great example of persistent pain. My pain, neuropathic chronic pain, stuff like that. There is pains that if you're watching TV and it relates to your triggers and your pain ignites, that is not a biological mechanism. That is your mind. That is your mind is the god of your whole body. It dictates everything to you.
Yeah, mind's so powerful.
Well, there's this cool thing in Explain Pain that talks about obviously every medication you've taken in your life. That medication actually isn't helping. It's how the medication works with your body and the neurotransmitters. Well, those medications you take work with receptors in your body that you already have, and that means that like a good one is opioids. We look at morphine. Yeah, morphine. Do you know what an endorphin is? It's an androgynous morphine. It's a naturally occurring morphine. It's a painkiller that your body naturally produces. So if you have the best pharmacy in your head, why do you need to go to the pharmacy in the first place? You just need to unlock the mind states and engage in the practices that help induce those. So you go to the gym and you run 40 minutes on a treadmill and you'll tell me your endorphins aren't running.
That's it.
Your endorphins will be running and you will be in less pain.
Get to 40 minutes on a treadmill with me, that is a miracle.
Yes.
To be fair,
Hey, mate, if I can do it, you ain't got an excuse, have you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll get to 4 minutes and I'm done. So,
but that's the thing. It's just realizing that you have all of these utensils in you. We have been evolved. Our ancestors went through way worse things than we will ever go through. We have been blessed with this time.
Yeah,
this
their Wi-Fi ever come down.
But that's it. But that's the thing, and they did that because they developed through evolution the mechanisms in themselves to get past these situations. They went through the most stressful, the really bad environment.
Even like you think very close to home, like our generations that aren't so far away, they had lots more to deal with than what we do.
Well, I was just staying at my granddad's last night because I was down in Essex, and I was just like and he was telling me stories and stuff like that, saying and I was saying like when I was speaking to him and he was telling me these stories, I really realised how good we got it.
We have.
I really deeped how good we have it. But that doesn't obviously get rid of issues and the mental health crisis and stuff we're going through. It just makes, I think people need to show more gratitude to the life we've been
build
given.
resilience, and that looks different for each person, doesn't it? I agree.
Well, it's like
Here.
the resilience I gained from my journey through pain and disability.
And look how we look at you now.
Yeah,
like,
I'm glowing. I'm loving it. I'm never. I would go through it again
Yeah.
and again. If I got started at the back of life and someone showed me this journey so far, and they showed me who I am today and what I'm doing today, I would go through it. I would go through every bit of pain and every bit of suffering. I wouldn't change a single bit of it because I'm so proud of who I've become.
And a lot of people go, a lot of us here have all gone from dark times.
100%.
We are much more empowered now from going through that and coming out the other side.
100%. If I can ask you guys a question, is there anything in your life that you went, do you know what, I wish I didn't go through that, or I wish, obviously
2006 Champions League final when Arsenal left for Barcelona, or not want to go through that again.
that's some PTSD. Man knew that. That's like how I explained my crash. He knew the date, the time. That's mental.
Never have made a red card. Just saying.
But is there anything that you look back on, you're like, there was like a devastating trauma that you're like, do you know what, I'm glad I went through that. I imagine you've been through some things that you're like, do you know what, I'm glad I went through that.
Or not glad.
Yeah, I mean,
Glad.
like I'm saying, I mostly am glad. Well, I think I'm glad that I went through the whole thing because I would not be the person I am today.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have gone through all those experiences,
That's it,
my
isn't
life
it?
that I've had, like from family passing away to me being alky and everything else, drinking all the time, food addiction. I'm glad I've done that because. Yeah, and obviously my son saying to me, are you going to die? And all that.
That's exactly what came to my mind, because I imagine that moment at that time, you were like, I wish you were probably thinking, oh, that was the worst thing I could have heard right now.
Yeah.
The last thing I want for my son is to think that his pa's not going to be here or whatnot. But if it wasn't for that sentence, if it wasn't for that day, you would look at you, man. You know what I mean? You become.
To be fair, I don't.
you,
I don't know if I would be here today, and that's me not just being dramatic about things. But I was getting pins and needles in my hands, my arm, my left arm was dead.
No, the struggle.
Been
there, done that.
Is it that we've all made it to the other side? Because I think that it's interesting you're asking us, because we've all been through stuff. It's kind of like a make it or break it, but we have the make it attitude. If we were three different people who've kind of let life defeat us, you'd have three different answers. Maybe, putting blame on things, very resentful. Well, if I didn't do that, then blah, blah, blah. Or if my nan didn't smoke, then she wouldn't
It's
die.
taking responsibility,
It
isn't
is.
it?
We're very different. We're very similar in the way that we overcome things. So it'd be really interesting if you'd ask that to other people.
I think because you get a lot. I've seen online, especially recently, obviously with the passing of Matthew Perry and stuff like that, and his struggles and what he went through. Like I shared on the campaign, like his it says his last words. They're not his actual last words, but his last
recorded,
interview last words. And he said like he just felt like it was unfair. Like him and 5 of his closest friends, they all went through the same experiences, but he just got this disease, and he felt. But you get a lot of people that have commented so negative, like, well, he's just got to take responsibility. He's got, and I think to an extent, like that is the crux of it. Like we've all gone, like obviously for yourself, like yours is someone else hit you with a car. It weren't.
Yes.
But do you know what?
But you've taken responsibility for everything that you've done. You could have, like you said, just sat there and go, oh, this is the cars that have been
You made that choice to not let that define you, and the resilience you've built, and now look, it's
well, that's the thing, and this is the thing. Like, there are people out there right now that I don't want them to think that because you're going through a hard time, you just need to take responsibility for your life. And
man up.
You need to surround yourself with people that are going to give you the ability to take responsibility of your own life. They're going to take the weight off a bit.
And it doesn't have to be family or friends.
No, it doesn't.
It can be professionals as well. Like, because I think
100%.
that's a message that a lot of people kind of misinterpret when you say surround yourself with the right people. Because unfortunately, there are people that are struggling alone. They are sitting in their house all alone, not knowing where to turn to. And it's not me saying you've got to have a decent family. You've got to have like we've all been quite lucky. We've got a great support network of family and friends. But that doesn't mean that you can't like. There are so many like places you can go and sit down. Like there's a guy that I know through the campaign, Luke Ambler, and he's got the Andy's Man Club.
Yeah,
and they have groups all the way around the country, and it's literally it's like an AA meeting, but for mental health.
Totally.
Yeah,
and you can just go to a local village hall, and you can sit with like-minded people that are also struggling and go, a shit day. I've had a
Even,
shit week.
even offloading just physically takes that weight off. And obviously it doesn't
No,
physically,
but it does.
does.
Yes.
But support network doesn't just have to be family and friends.
Hey, support network can be a person on Instagram sending you t-shirts when you're going for a walk in rehab. A support network can be you following an
But that's why
individual
we're
who's
all
done
here.
the transformation
Yeah.
and can show you that it's possible. Like I'm so proud I met you. Like you have changed my life, genuinely. Because like, the reason I go gym and stuff like that wasn't because I wanted to go gym. I just knew that I needed to make a change. I needed to dramatically change my life. My lifestyle was causing my situation, so I needed to change my lifestyle. And it's like, you know, seeing you get up and seeing your transformation, like. Just because I wasn't overweight doesn't mean I didn't need a transformation.
No.
My transformation was psychological.
Totally.
It was I need to change my mind state. I need to
Totally.
stop being a victim and go, do you know what? I need to start taking ownership of this situation.
Yeah.
And you said earlier, you know, another guy hit you. Now, I have no idea what happened that day. My mind wiped all the memory. But you know what I tell myself? I tell myself, regardless of if he hit me or if I hit him or anything, I tell myself that I hit him. Because I would rather take ownership of that situation and be the guy that goes, you know what? I don't even know what happened, but I'd rather accept and live by the message that I made the mistake, because at least I can own up to it then, and I can move past it
And
then.
you can-
This idea of me blaming this other person,
Technically have
why on earth would I sit in that lifestyle?
Then really, if you say, "Oh, someone hit me," so I'm not really responsible for everything.
But it's like, no, I like taking responsibility because
You know,
that's
how-
allowed me to
that's how
change.
different. This what we are trying to basically promote is less of the entitlement, people, which I think we just see.
Go on, girl.
It's all about. Yeah, I just so
Let him have it.
you see it on social media, and it's just people very entitled. They think that the government, owes them money. That the NHS should make, their lifestyle changes and whatever it is. Less of the entitlement, you take ownership, and then because you're doing that, you go through the hard process, and through your hard work and all of that, you then become much more resilient and actually more respectful, more empathetic to others.
Yeah.
You're less judgmental. It actually makes you a better human being, dare I say it.
I saw something on Instagram. It was like a meme saying that the skinny guy walks into the gym and he says that he's going to be the biggest guy in the gym in a few years, and everyone laughs except the biggest guy in the gym.
Yes!
And that's it, because
don't
the
even go
biggest
there.
guy in the gym
Yeah.
was the skinny guy at one point,
Exactly.
and it was that thinking that got him to be the biggest guy in the gym. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, people laugh at
Little
the
story.
journey,
Trust
but they
me.
never laugh at the
No,
destination.
a little story. My coach. So every coach has a coach, because everyone needs to take that emotional bias off. So my coach, when I started to become somewhat successful, whatever
Yeah.
you want to put that as, I started to get a little bit of hate, because obviously it comes from an envious place, an insecure place. And my coach said, you will never get any dismissive comments or anything from people who are above you, because they know what hard work goes in to get there. It's only ever going to be, I'm not saying like people from below you, but people who have not even achieved or don't even understand what goes involved. It's like, and it's true, like, look at the bodybuilders look at our gym, for example, the environment. Yes, obviously you'll get those that are just throwing the weights around thinking they're the whatever.
Yeah.
But the
Me
people
later.
the people who have really achieved what they have will do nothing but support you, come and spot you, because they know what works. And it's the same in any industry, isn't it? It's really interesting.
They've always said, like, the best boss that you'll ever have is the ones that's scared about you taking their job.
Yeah.
Because then they will always want to be better as well.
Yes.
But they'll be the ones that will promote you and push you to take their job so they can move forward.
Yes.
If my clients surpass me, I've done a brilliant job.
That's you. That's it. That is literally, you've done the Yoda. You've gone, yo.
That is
You know what I mean?
it.
Like,
That is it.
Yeah, I mean, I had that for all my transformation. When I first started it, people laughing at me,
I bet they were.
but like,
Ridiculous.
looking at me going, "Oh, yeah, you've done me."
Yeah, but you were at the gym though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
this
You're
is it.
already doing
Yeah,
more
but-
distance on a treadmill than someone that's sitting at home doing sort of.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, how many times have you done this before? Even friends like, I don't really. You say a lot of friends I don't see anymore because they're not really friends. They just want you to piss up at them.
No, I know those all too
Supporting
well.
your lifestyle.
Exactly.
I know that all too well.
Yeah.
They're laughing at me. Oh, we ain't gonna do this, ain't gonna do that. And then, now they ask me questions. How? First of all, they doubt you, and then they
Oh,
ask
they
me.
take that pill, don't they, man?
See, the way you turn around and go is because of you.
Yeah,
You
that's
done
it.
it, mate.
Yeah,
That's what
every
pushed
time
me.
That's it.
someone
That
laughs-
hate is a good motivator, isn't it?
Trust me. Every time someone laughed at me, every time someone took the piss, every time that was just more fuel for
Yeah.
my fire.
The best way is to to like shut up your doubters to prove them wrong.
Yeah. Well, when I was at school, I remember, this is a vivid memory I have. Obviously, I left school at 16, wanted to be a mechanic. From the age of 14, I loved doing mechanics, always worked at this garage. Loved it. I loved the idea, taking something to pieces, putting it back together, turning a key, and it's starting. That feeling, that was crack
when
to
you've got
me.
a few bits still landing.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. You don't need that brake pad, do you? Like, but it was like, well, it's a thing. I remember when I left school, it was the last day of school. GCSE, obviously last day, and it's obviously people crying or emotional. But I was a bit of an outcast at school, to be honest with you. I never really fit in. I had friends, like groups and stuff, but I wasn't like a permanent member to any. I was kind of like
floating around.
Yeah, I roamed around a lot. I wasn't kind of like
a nomad.
Well, that was it. Yeah, it was weird. But I remember like the last day, I was speaking to a few people, and everyone was saying, what are you doing next and stuff. And I said, I'm going to become a mechanic. And I remember this vividly. The guy said to me, he went, "Do you not want to do more in life? Do you not want to become more?" And I was thinking,
who are you?
I was like, I love this. This is what I love this so much. And to be honest with you, at school I felt stupid. I wasn't smart, and that's probably because I never tried, because I knew I was going to go into mechanics. I didn't need those GCSEs and maths and English. I mean, I knew I was going to need well, this is it. This is it. Very strange. But then obviously I had my crash and I lost use of my arm. And at this time in my life, everything I did was with my arms. When I was younger, I used to be a magician, and then I did mechanics. Didn't get much gal in my life at this point. It was one of those things. Want to pick a card? It wasn't.
It's not the greatest job.
No, it's not. It wasn't. I wasn't getting the Queen of Hearts.
I was getting the Jack of Spades.
Yeah, yeah, literally. And it was one of those things. But then obviously when I lost the arm, I went, had a few years figuring it out, obviously stuff like that, before deciding that I wanted to go back into education. And it was actually just by chance. I was walking past college one day in my local area. It was Burton South Derbyshire College. And I went in and wanted to do music, because you guys know that I did music for a bit. I really loved it, and I really enjoyed doing rapping. I wanted to kind of learn more production and stuff like that. But obviously they cut a lot of music and stuff at college, so all they had was a social science pathway. And my sisters and my family said, you're good at speaking. I'm quite an emotional man. Do you know what I mean? So they went, you'll be good at psychology, good as a counsellor. And I was like, okay, I'll do a social science pathway. And I smashed it. I thought I was an idiot. I genuinely thought like I was not inclined in any way towards academia. I never thought, I never picked up a book. I didn't even read of Mice and Men at school. I watched a film and read all my on the film. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had no interest in it. And I realised it wasn't that I didn't like education. I didn't like the education that the education system picked for me. When I picked it myself
last week,
we did that last week. Yeah.
But it's it. When I picked it myself, when it was my decision, it was my sovereign. And I was like, and I went into it, and I did really well. I did one of the best in the college. Got into university, obviously, and you guys know what happened next. Ended up dropping out because of spinal ops and all that mishap. But I graduated.
Did you talk about that
then? Yeah. But I graduated my undergrad. I got an 85 in my dissertation, which is high first class as well.
Nice.
And I graduated with a first, and now I'm doing my master's in health psychology. I got an award by the university called a Community Contribution Prize, where because I was just involved with so many things at university, I was doing societies, I was engaged in pain research
it's amazing
groups.
how academic could be when it's your passion.
Well, that's it. And I realised that it was like this person that said to me at school said, "Do you not want to be anything better?" I don't know what they're doing now. I have no idea what they're doing now.
Exactly.
But they ain't doing
guaranteed.
anything compared to what I know I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And have
probably
done.
doing the same thing.
Well, that's the thing.
And the thing is, if you spend
That's
time
their
telling
own
people you're not going to do,
That's their own
it's like you said, it comes from that jealousy. It comes from that
insecurity.
Yeah.
Like they probably don't believe whatever.
But it's mad. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life was someone called Stu Johnson, who was my old boss. Because he could hear a car coming in and tell you what the issue was. He could hear it coming down the road. But like, that's got a wheel bearing on the near side. Retire. And I'm like, really,
his craft.
He has, but he was like his dad, right from knee high as a grasshopper. He was literally like, but he was one of the smartest people I know to this day, and he's a mechanic. So there's this idea, there's this misconception of what intellect is.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a real big misconception.
It's
It's
my
like
granddad always says, if you do a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
100%.
And it's bang on. Like I get told like, obviously, I want to do this, and I want to do public to me, and I want to motivate.
You want to make a
people.
difference.
Yeah, 100%.
But unfortunately, to start doing that, you need some sort of job.
Yes.
To
sustain it.
Just to sustain it. And I've had jobs, and the management have gone, "Do you feel passionate about it?" No, I'm here from 9 to 5 to make money to pay for the bills for my family. I'm not here for the family.
Well, we're all sitting here on a Sunday. Not one of us getting paid, and we absolutely can tell we're loving it.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
100%. It's our decision. We know that we're doing it for our.
Can I
you know what
interrupt
I mean?
you?
Yeah.
I can't not say this. Your lovely about working with your hands and taking it apart, about being a mechanic and putting it all together. What an amazing analogy for what you have done with your life. Can you not see that?
Do you know what? Yeah, no, you're completely right.
Because you've done like the biological stuff. I do get quite I do get quite deep. I do get quite deep. So because biologically you were hit and hit again and hit again. And so you've literally pulled yourself apart.
To be fair, not all the parts come out again.
Well,
I left some of the brake pads and bolts out, didn't I?
But
You can take the guy from the mechanic. You can't take the mechanic out of the guy. You know what I mean? Like,
near enough, that love for putting it all back together is exactly what you've done.
no, it is. And the thing is, I am never going to regret doing mechanics. My mates to this day. Every other week I get a text from one of my mates saying, mate, there's a noise in my... And I will still be able to diagnose it.
With the car,
I can still diagnose... Obviously I can't, you know what I mean? I'll struggle with some bits because a lot of mechanics is two-arm jobs, you know what I mean?
Like,
but I know
that bit
exactly
there,
what the issues are. And it's
I
a
can
life
turn the
skill.
key, I can press a horn that's bang.
Yeah, you don't want me driving, mate. But it's like, you know, that life knowledge and that experience I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And this thing is, if I ever make it and I ever have enough money to, you know, to sort myself out, the first thing I'm doing is getting myself a lovely yard and I'm getting it a nice garage out in the back with a nice ramp, and I'm just going to buy old classic cars that are completely done. And I'm just going to, in my spare time, take patience. I'll just go in there.
Douse himself in engine oil and just live the dream.
Well, that's it, mate, because it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, I love it. There's something about it. It's just a really lovely...
Do you know what I mean? So in the summer we went to Canada and I went to my brother-in-law's wedding, and my sister-in-law's family, well, all the guys, literally wherever they live, they've got a garage.
Yeah.
And they just have, like, well, there's a beer fridge in the corner.
A bit of therapy.
Well, literally, he goes out there just to escape. I think most of the time. He hardly ever does any work.
Yeah, he just turns the radio on,
stands
puts the
in the
noise
back.
on of a mechanic, smashing others, and just
He just
lays
sits there with a
there.
hammer just banging the side for a little while. But I think it's for some people, like, even that little bit of therapy. It's
That
just,
links back to what you were saying, though, about everyone being different and finding your way of mindfulness. Like, for me, dancing makes me feel free.
Yes.
Like, it makes me feel free and I lose myself. So for people, it might be like mechanics that you find something that you love,
Dancing
and that's
don't make me free.
where
stupid.
that is my
Can imagine me dancing,
That's my
no
first
coordination
love.
in my legs.
It's his dad dancing, dad jokes.
That's his dad jokes. That's his passion. Yeah. No, that's my first love. So that's where I switch off, and you, like you're saying, just that is my mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's not a colouring book. That's not my thing.
No, it's not.
You know?
That's the thing. Like for me, like music is a huge. That for like look, when I felt like I exhausted all of my interventions, when I've done with surgery, when I've done, what did I turn to? I turned to music. Because for me, I needed a way to get it out.
Totally.
I needed a way to process.
Yeah.
There's no better way of processing your trauma than putting it into a rhythmic style, analysing it, and putting it on a beat. Exactly. And same as dancing. You're feeling it's animalistic.
Yeah.
It's innate. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, I did, like, I played the guitar. Like,
Yeah, I saw.
I don't play it well, but I play
But
it.
you loved it.
Yeah, and like people go, what can you play then? Play me a song. It's like, no, I'm not going to play it for other people. Like literally, when the
That's
house is
your
empty,
thing.
I can sit there and I'm playing in front of 100,000 people at Wembley.
Yes.
Like I'm rocking out. But as soon as someone walks in the door, no, that's going down.
Yeah. Well, do you know what phenomenological flow is? So the studies. There's a philosophy. Yeah, sounds like a medical exam, doesn't it? So phenomenology is a school of philosophy. It's like an approach to philosophy, and it's the approach where phenomenology is the lived experience. So in science, in physics, they have the objective and the subjective experience, and physics is looking at the objective reality, what goes on behind the scenes, and then you have psychology, which is looking at the subjective experience, what goes on in here, and phenomenology looks at that there's no difference between the objective and the subjective. It believes that doesn't exist. It believes that your life, what you go through, is just what you perceive in your mind and your eyes. So this experience, what we're going through right now, what you're perceiving is phenomenology. But there's this moment, be it at the gym, be it when you're playing music, be it when you're dancing, where you feel like nothing can go wrong. You feel like you're so in the flow that time doesn't exist. You are so in it, and that's called phenomenon. And there's a direct correlation between jobs and people that work jobs in which enrich them and bring them into that phenomenological flow state and mental health, happiness, and and competence in daily life. Because if you are constantly getting in a flow state where you feel like nothing can go wrong. It is beautiful. And I get that when I freestyle. So when I do rapping, when I do music, when I get into when I'm with my mates, we're doing a cypher or something, and I just get into this freestyle, I feel like nothing can go wrong. I just start rhyming and I'm gone. And no one else is there. Nothing, reality, everything has ceased to exist.
I feel like saying to him, drop some lyrics.
A few bars, please.
Well, but it's the thing, and it's just, it feels so real and so innate and so right. And my dad always tells me when he was doing, my dad won the British karate championship in the year 2000. A lot of my family, my cousins, my uncles. I'm not the best at fighting. They just got to sweep the leg and I'm gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, but
when you was younger,
yeah, I did a bit of karate when I was younger and stuff. Yeah, it's very in the family. Do you know what I mean? It's but my dad said that his phenomenological flow state was that when he was, when he was doing the judo, doing the karate, and he was in that mind. And some people it's when they're under a bench and they're pushing up. Some people it's when they're on the treadmill. Some people it's when it's rapid. But I can guarantee you, not one person who has chronic pain, when they're in that phenomenological flow state, in their given craft, has ever been in pain. Because you can't be. Because if time doesn't exist, if no one else is there, then your pain definitely ain't. Do you know what I mean? The trick, and this is the thing that I like telling people: find your thing. If you haven't found that thing that puts you in phenomenological flow, please go out and try it. Find something.
New things.
Try it.
Last week we had Nero. She had punting. I reckon that's her thing.
Yeah,
that's her thing. She was punting for a few, but it could be anything, can't it?
Well, that's the thing. Everyone has their weird and wonderful, traits and characteristics, and I think
baking. Some people love that. Don't
well, I find it very therapeutic to cook a nice meal.
Again, making something.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I just love. Well, I think you've got it. I think you've hit the nail there. I like making things. I like bringing them to life, and
whether it's music, whether it's
that's
food,
it. Yeah,
whether it's cars,
I like the idea of having.
it.
Yeah, and just seeing the outcome and watching it succeed. That for me is the, be it a song and doing well or the views or doing, that turn of the key and watching it ignite. That for me is the, the real epitome of what life's about. But everyone's different. And I think that's the one thing that I really, really need to preach in regards to pain, in regard to mental health. Your life is your life. There is not going to be a magic pill. It doesn't matter what industry you work in that is going to solve your issues. No, it doesn't matter what it is. There's nothing out there that's going to solve your issues.
And we're all going to have issues.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And it doesn't matter if you've been hit by a car. There is trauma in everyone's life and it's subjective. My life, my trauma is no more than any of your traumas. They mean it's no more valuable because it's my life and my subjective experience.
That's very humble.
No, it's true though.
Through an awful lot, but I know what you mean.
But you're thinking objectively. You're thinking, I'm gonna. But you can't do that because it's like, how is you're still thinking objectively, but through your subjective eyes. So do you know what I mean?
You're right, because people do compare, and that's not.
Well, it's like, look, I'd rather lose an arm than a brother. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Every day of the week, I would any day of the week. Totally. So this is the thing. You can't. There's no comparison in trauma. There's no comparison in this stuff. It's hard. Everyone's going through their battles. Get yourself in with a good crowd. Get yourself in with a good psychologist. Get yourself in with your friends, your family. Talk, be honest, be open, be genuine, be authentic. Don't shy away from yourself. Embrace that thing that gets you going.
Be different.
That burns that fire inside of you and just and bring it on. Like, I've received so much hate in my life. And every time I do, I'm like, keep it coming.
Yeah.
If I'm hating, if you're hating, I'm succeeding.
You're doing something right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Keep it coming. I want to hear more of this hate. I want to hear more of this stuff because that's my motivator. That's the thing that keeps me going.
What's really happening is that they either don't understand you or they're so inspired. There's more than likely you've got so many supporters. There'll just be this small percentage that don't understand, can't deal with it, they can't relate. Whatever their issue is comes from an insecurity or envy. There's always going to be that. So the sooner you come to terms with that, you're kind of freeing.
What? Anytime I've ever been like aggy or hateful towards someone, it's when I've been in a bad place.
Yeah.
If I'm like, do you know what I mean? Like, anytime anyone got road rage and stuff like that, it's never when they're on their best day. All right, one of my favourite things to tell people, like to give them a real understanding of the subject, how pain is in your head and how it's, just because it's in your head doesn't mean it's not real. By the way, everything's in your head. This whole reality, everything is in your head.
Emotions, pain, it's all validated.
Yeah, colour is your mind creates colour. Your mind creates taste. It doesn't mean it's not real. It's your reality. Do you know what I mean? And best way to explain it is, stubbing your toe is horrible, but if you've had a bad day. Your dog shit on the floor. that stubbing of the toe is so much where you're like, I can't believe it. You're throwing dishes. But you've had the best day in the world. You've just freaking, your views are up. Your life's going well. Kids are happy, family's happy. You stub your toe, you're like, you just get on with it.
It's relative.
That's it. So it's like you are creating the experience. You are really. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
you've actually created more pain for yourself. Yeah. In essence, which is.
There's a Buddhist saying, it says, if you get shot by an arrow, don't shoot yourself again. Which is, if you get shot by an arrow, catastrophizing it is shooting yourself again. It's getting yourself stabbed again because you're just going, oh no, what am I going to do? Stuff like that. And, we are allowed to complain, we're allowed to moan. But we can't fixate.
Strength. Yeah. That's what you're, that's in essence what you're kind of trying to do, share ways to help build that resilience in a way.
That mind-body connection, I think.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Did you ever hear a story about the free Tibet monks that set themselves on fire in protest?
No.
There were these monks during the occupation. Well, I think Tibet's still occupied, to be honest with you. But China occupied Tibet, and they wanted to free Tibet. And these monks sat in the middle of Tibet in the street, covered themselves in petrol, and lit themselves on fire. Now, there's stories and reports that these monks did not scream. They didn't make a sound. Imagine every day of your life, you've sat there in Zazen meditation and you've contemplated the mind-body connection. You've contemplated existence. You have such a strong mind-body connection that you can sit in front of people, set yourself on fire and not feel pain, or at least not express it. That is mental resilience. That is being able to go, and they did it for their cause. They did it because they didn't want the suffering of their people anymore and stuff like that.
In every single physical signal possible.
And they managed to get they managed to understand their mind-body connection so much that they could sit there on fire and not scream. And if they can sit there on fire and not scream, I can lose an arm.
Walking on glass, walking on nails. It's all of
walking
that,
on coal, all of that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's this conditioning, this level of, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I'm not going to tell people out there to go walking on coals.
No.
I can barely walk. I ain't going to be walking on coals. I'd fall in.
It would take you a lot longer to get.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, my stick would be on fire. I'd be like, oh no, what's happening here, man? Like, yeah, it wouldn't be the one.
Entertainment value.
Yeah. I would get views. But yeah, it would be one of those things. But telling people, if your journey, your trauma is your coal, it's your fire. And it's kind of just learning what for you helps you not scream.
No. So do you mind, because obviously he has got this leaflet. You said there were 6 rules.
6 key messages, yeah.
And rules. So I love a rule.
Yeah.
And obviously what you're trying to share is that it's person dependent, but like you said,
these
everyone's
can help.
Experience is different, and how they apply it might be different.
Yeah.
But let's hear them. Please.
So basically, there's a lot of misconceptions about chronic pain. Obviously, one of the biggest ones is that old people get pain. As you get older, you get more pain. And that's not necessarily true. If you live an unhealthy lifestyle, you don't exercise, you will get chronic pain. I went to my granddad, who's 88, staying with him last night. He does exercise every single day. He was helping. He carried my bag upstairs.
Oh.
Because he was like, G down. I'm like, you're 88.
That's
Fit as a fiddle, incredible. So
Yeah.
the first key message is persistent pain is common and can affect anyone.
My granddad was the same.
Well, this is the thing.
I totally get it. It's the lifestyle, isn't it?
And obviously I'm 26. I'm a male. I'm young and I'm a male. Women are more likely to have chronic pain, and older people are more likely to have chronic pain. But the idea we want to get into people is that it's common. It affects everyone. Because if you think it's not common and you feel alone and you feel like me, where you think, oh my god, this is just happening to me. I'm debilitated. I'm not understood. I'm not validated. Then it's gonna be a lot harder to get through. So the first message is, persistent pain is common and can affect anyone.
I can't remember where. I don't know whether we discussed it last week, or I don't know if I've just
losing your mind.
Maybe, but studies have shown. I think we did discuss this. I don't know. I've discussed it with someone.
Yourself just now.
When people retire, because we almost. This stress was it not? No. I had this conversation. So when obviously we kind of have that adrenaline and stress on the daily life, and that keeps us kind of healthy. If you when you retire, everything starts to depreciate or whatever. But does it? But we're just not mentally. We're not fighting that every day. You see what I'm trying to say?
No, I know exactly. It's like so. There was a direct link between. I think it was in a nunnery. There was nuns that were doing Sudoku every day, and there were nuns that wasn't. And the ones that wasn't were getting Alzheimer's and dementia.
Absolutely.
And the ones that were fine. And the ones that were doing Sudoku didn't. And it was because they were keeping up the cognition and the neurological pathways in their brain. Now, if you are a mechanic every single day of your life, and then you turn the age of 68 and you retire, and you get your state pension, those neurological pathways that you've kept up for the last 50 years, they're just going to crumble and fail because you're not using them anymore. You're not using that part of your brain anymore. So if you don't use it, you lose it. Exactly.
And that's why unfortunately, when, so for example, my nan died, my granddad just went downhill rapidly, and that is also why, because they kind of kept themselves going. He looked after her. That gave him a purpose, so she's gone. So again, it's interesting.
Well, that's why they found certain mushrooms, not psychedelic ones necessarily. They help as well, but like lion's mane mushroom. You see all this hype of them. We're in a mushroom era at the moment. All those mushrooms. The reason they help with that they reduce chances of Alzheimer's, dementia, and memory memory loss is because they re-amplify and help basically reignite those neurological pathways. And actually, Alzheimer's and dementia is directly linked to something called the myelin sheath on the neuron. So if you see the wire on any wire has the insulation, that is what the myelin sheath is. It's insulation, but it also helps with the efficiency of that neuron. So these mushrooms basically stop the deterioration of that myelin sheath. So they, in essence, stop the influence of dementia and Alzheimer's kicking in. And obviously, the earlier you start eating these things, the better it helps.
Again, go back to nutrition.
Yes,
yeah, totally.
And eating certain foods. If you eat a lot of mushrooms in your diet, especially like, Chinese mushrooms, you get like the oyster mushrooms, stuff like that. You get, I think it's shiitake, all those things. You have them in your diet a lot. You're way less likely to have memory deterioration and stuff like that. And there's obviously supplements, ginkgo biloba, helps with memory. There's loads of stuff out there you can take. But I think it's really important to just, especially when you do retire, you just need to keep on this. Learning language is a very popular one. If when you retire, if you've always wanted to learn language, that's the time. Sit down, because that will keep your mind going. That will keep you preoccupied. That will enhance it.
I'm struggling with English.
To be fair,
so obviously we went through. Sorry.
No, I was going to say my father-in-law's taken up making beer, so I'm well.
Yes,
with his,
that will do it. That will.
Yeah, so this was the one you went over. There was a car alarm one you went over there.
Yeah, that's the car alarm. But the next message is hurt does not mean harm. And I think that's really relevant to the idea that just because you are hurting doesn't mean there's actual harm. So I obviously had the spinal cord injury, right? And they put me through for these 3 operations. I think the first one was needed. I think the first operation, deherniation, was needed. But I think the persistent pain was not coming from there being scar tissue in the spinal cord or anything like that. I think the pain was coming from all the trauma and the horrible experiences I went through losing my body, losing my job, losing my life, losing my identity. I was under a lot of stress and stuff like that, and obviously linking into the fight or flight thing.
So like your cortisol would be raised and spiked.
When I went tested for cortisol,
I wanted to ask
it was
about that.
so high. It was because I was, when you're in pain, you're struggling so much.
I clients all the time about again sleep and the link with cortisol and like etc. Different times of the day, like post workout and things like that. And it's like people you underestimate the power of like the spiking cortisol. It's mental.
100%. Well, coffee does it.
You shared your blood, didn't you? You shared your results.
I did the results.
It was a spike.
It was so high. And I thought honestly my testosterone was really high. Yeah, my testosterone was alright.
Right.
It was
showing up.
I got my good facial. I mean, don't ask me to grow it out though,
Can you share a bit of your blood?
So it was. So what was weird was I
You meant the information behind it, not actually your blood.
Yeah, so I was going to say you got to be
like things like because I promote like the use of ashwagandha and things.
I take ashwagandha every day. Yeah, I have a lion's mane and ashwagandha coffee that I have in the morning, and I also take a lot of ashwagandha just like because it is brilliant. But you don't take it more for 4 weeks. They say 4 week stints is the best.
Yeah.
I noticed that I was getting really horny on it. I took it for like.
Let's not testosterone speak.
Yes.
Not that.
Matt's going to slowly move.
Why did you say something? It's actually true. That's true.
It had me like.
Oh, really?
But
then I took it on prep, so.
It's very true. Also, if my wife is watching this, she will know.
Now I'm going to send.
No, I've just been given ashwagandha for the last 3 weeks.
Hey, I'm glad to hear you're happy, man. Mental health's going to be going up, isn't it?
See, all linked.
She's like, Jen's like, why'd you keep giving me all these vitamins? Like, she's got like, nothing now. It's fine, just keep
just keep eating that. You're like, I've got this new coffee. You should try it. This is
and these tablets, and this.
Big fan of ashwagandha.
Yeah, but
I've got a lot of clients with like anxiety and things like that.
Yeah.
It really, really helps.
That's what it's for, Jen. That's
and the benefits.
Can you smell that too?
Yeah, but my bloods basically, what they were saying was it was not that my testosterone was low, it's that my estrogen and prolactin was high. And that's apparently when you have kids, when a guy has kids, their estrogen and prolactin naturally goes up because it's linked to the carer instinct. And obviously when you have kids, you have to be more nurturing and caring. You can't be the aggressive macho. But so apparently I think
women have high prolactin when they're like giving birth.
Well, it's what creates breast milk.
That's it.
Prolactin is
I've got
lactate.
naturally high prolactin, and I properly looked into it.
Well, it's a caregiver thing. It's a very and mine was quite high. So I was just and they think it was due to something in my endocrine system. So it's the endocrine system is part of your brain that dictates all of your hormones, all of that
I'm
type
big
of
on
stuff.
hormones.
Yeah. So but they thought basically my prolactin was quite high, and that's normally a sign of something called a hyperprolactinoma, which is a tumour on your pituitary gland. That sounds scary, having a brain tumour, doesn't it? Obviously, when I first heard that, I was like,
that's exactly what I did.
This is not what I knew.
I literally was like, wanderer. Sorry, how you doing this to me, man?
That's exactly what I was worried
Yeah,
about too,
and it turns out that it's directly linked to chronic stress.
Yeah.
It's directly linked when you're stressed.
and a lot for me, obviously, a lot of weightlifting and
Yes.
high protein, like that sort of lot of stress on your body. So
100%. So it's like it's linked to
we're all
that.
good.
But they said to me, "You need operation." I went,
No.
"No, I do not. I'm going to take some herbal supplements and go to the gym and sort this out how I should do. I'm not going to."
So blood, so testosterone was fine.
Yeah,
prolactin was a bit
prolactin was
high.
high, estrogen was high. And I think globulin, which is a sex hormone, or something like that.
I know the one you mean.
Globulin,
GB,
something like that.
GB.
Yeah,
Something like
that's
that
it,
was
yeah.
quite high as well. But these all linked to stress and stuff like that. So it was one of those. So I've realised really, which makes sense, I needed to implement a lot of things to reduce my stress. And that's when I started my Guided by Kai account, my journey. That I was like, for the next 12 weeks, I'm doing a PT course, I'm going to work with a
lifestyle, isn't it,
PT,
as well?
and I'm going to implement change in my life to help reduce my cortisol, prolactin levels, stuff like
Nice,
that.
yeah.
So I did that, and it did start to reduce. But then obviously doing a degree, doing that, obviously trying to study all that stuff, and obviously I put a lot of pressure on myself as well.
Yes.
I think the reason I've been so on top of getting through all this disability and pain was the last thing I wanted to be. There's nothing wrong with being disabled, non-benefits, and not being able to work. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people out there really can't.
yeah.
I just didn't want to be that
Yeah,
man.
that
I
doesn't
wanted
drive
to be
you.
independent.
Yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to be responsible. I wanted my nice yard. I want to have a family. I want to
Yeah.
have that lifestyle. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So for me, it was this driver of being like, if I
Yeah.
need that, if I want to become that, I'm gonna have to get on
Yeah.
top of this.
Good for you, man.
And again, that's that putting things together. I feel like we're very similar. Like I really love the drive to success, whatever that is.
Yes.
Like some people just have that, and it doesn't need to be like doesn't have to be that gratification of like money or but we just like I want to achieve that. This is
Yeah.
what I've got to do. I'm going to get there. That is very fulfilling, whatever that looks like. And that's like you do your degree, you're an all-in person.
Yeah.
You're doing this, you're all
Yeah,
in. Do you know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I don't do half measures
Yeah,
except my
yeah.
arm.
Yeah.
I like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I literally, I want to do everything properly.
Yes.
And that's the thing. When I started
But
going to
that's
gym and
also
stuff like that.
a lot of pressure.
Well, it
A
is.
lot of pressure.
And obviously,
Yeah.
pressure is stress. Stress
Yeah.
is cortisol. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's, do you know what I mean? It fluctuates. And at the moment, I'm waiting on a brain scan to see if there is, a tumour right there. Yeah, to see. That's exactly what my dad said, mate. You're showing yourself up today with a dad jokes. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's like when you say to you, I've got something in my eye, and then your parent go, yeah, eyeball.
Yeah.
No.
That's what we're here for.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So-
next rule.
Yeah,
Not
next-
rule.
the next
So
message.
sorry.
It's all right, it's all right.
I
Next
call
key
it a
message,
rule. Because
is-
I want to
want it
do
to be
it to
rules.
the most.
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm
That's
like.
because you want it to be a rule.
And that's it.
do.
Well,
I like
if you implement these as rules, you're gonna do fine. You're gonna do good. So everything matters when it comes to pain, which is in my situation, it really does, because if you think pain is just this biological mechanism, has nothing to do with your environment or your mental state or anything like that, then you're gonna make your pain worse, because you're not gonna notice when you're catastrophizing. You're not gonna notice when you're watching things that are direct triggers. You're not gonna notice when you're engaging in things that make your pain worse. So it's realizing that for me, when I make music, going back to that phenomenological flow stuff, that really helps my pain. So
Understanding you, your triggers, your behaviour.
yeah, and it's like and it literally is everything. Your whole lifestyle, you need to work. And the thing is, it sounds like a lot of effort when you're in chronic pain, 'cause you're like, this is so much to deal with, and now I have to get
Where do I
everything out of my
start?
life in check.
Yeah.
Start off with one thing.
Yeah.
Start off with maybe a meal plan. Start off by going to the gym. Start off by just going to bed at the same time each night and waking up at the same time each morning.
That one. Do that one.
Yeah, give your body a fight. Look, if your body knows what's happening the next day, then it knows how to deal with the next day. It's not going to have randomly spiky cortisol at random times and stuff like that. So, and that's linked to your circadian rhythm. It's linked to when you're going to bed, when you're getting sunlight, everything like that. So if you just go to bed at the same time every night and then wake up at the same time every morning, your body knows when to engage certain hormones for sleep, when to engage REM sleep and stuff like that. And it doesn't need to
And when you
randomly negotiate
you do,
it.
and you are out of sync,
Oh, you notice.
Yes.
literally,
you
like
do.
usually I'm in bed by 9:30.
Yes.
Like, if I'm going to bed later than 9:30, something's wrong. But obviously, since getting our podcast puppy, that unfortunately isn't here at the moment.
We're very upset.
Yeah, I know you would be.
I was devastated.
I know. But where we've had her, like, say, to go to bed, and I'm like, I'll keep the dog down here and take her up in the garden before I go to bed, so I don't go up till 10. I'm sitting there going, nah, I'm really stuck. Because I've got myself in a structure. 8:30 to bed.
And we love routine.
Quarter to 5 in the morning, I'll
Yeah.
wake up to go to the gym.
Nice.
And every morning I'm like that. And then when you're out of sync, you're just like,
Yeah. That's
wow.
why a lot of, and again, this is not a scientific whatever, but it probably is actually somewhere out there. People on shift work will find, quote unquote, life like weight management, like weight stress, they'll find that harder to deal with because they've not got that nice.
Have you seen any documentaries about prison?
I love it.
So like,
I'm quite dark.
do you want to go, dear?
no, but it's really.
She likes it to a point.
I really find that interesting.
Well, the thing is, have you noticed that prisoners have the most regimented lifestyle in the world? They have to go to bed at a certain. They have to eat at a certain. Their life is controlled externally.
Yeah.
But if you take a prisoner out of regiment, I think there's an episode of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares.
Well,
or Ramsay's.
He gave that kid a job.
Yeah, and there was an episode where he went to a prison, but he took them out of their natural regiment, and there was a fight in the prison. These people were going against their innate instincts. They were going against what their internal, what they expected.
Yeah.
So they're like anyone in the military as well.
Literally.
As soon as someone leaves the military, I struggled when I came out, and I've spoken to so many people in the military. When they come out, they don't know what to do because they haven't got someone telling them to do it.
Yeah.
And same with children. Children play up in like half term, in summer holidays. You bet, like here and so on. Yeah, they're like, oh my god, they're going off the wall because they crave that routine.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
To be fair though, if my missus drops something on me that I'm not thinking about or not planning, it throws me out, and I actually have a panic attack pretty much.
Yeah,
like you were saying about you getting stressed. That's what
trigger.
happens.
Yeah.
If she tells me what we're doing that day,
I like to know.
and then all of a sudden she says we're doing this instead, or this is. No, that's not part of the routine.
Yes.
I completely agree with that. So I literally.
Yeah, hold on, I didn't plan that in my day.
Yeah, it throws me. It actually does me, and then I end up getting a migraine because I'm in so like stress.
Well, it's like not ADHD. I think you got some.
I literally, I can't do it.
It's out of your control.
So you might say to me, we're going to my brother's whether the roasting this. We get some brothers, and then he'll say, all of a sudden he'll go, oh, let's all go to the park now. No, the park wasn't in the plan.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to the park.
yours, eating roast.
That's it. My plans were, I come to yours, have dinner, sit down, chill out, go home. I'm not going to the park. It's not the plan.
Yeah.
That is literally. Do you notice how I was messaging you? I messaged you like.
Did that. Your body language. You just got nervous. Did you not?
Thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's nervous over a hypothetical situation.
That is potential threat, isn't it? It's potential threat. He's going to headache in a second. You need to stop, guys. Meditate, mate. Meditate.
I wonder if that's linked to your fear of trauma because it's out of your control. I wonder. Being a therapist.
But I imagine it's like a psychological session, isn't it? Like poor lads getting freaking taken apart in front of us. I hope I put you back together, man.
I love you.
You are. Yeah. But that's that's perfect.
Yeah, it's a good one. So the next message is this one's very relevant to me. I wish I saw this before 2018. It's medicines and surgeries are not the answer, not often the answer. Now that's not all the time. Which is, I mean, like you need the surgery. Sometimes you need surgery.
Stubborn. I don't like popping pills.
Yeah, well that's
stubborn.
it.
And I'd like to know why that is. Why am I like, no, I'm not taking it unless it's bad.
We haven't got long enough. Sorry.
Yeah. Can I have a session?
I think the old SD card's nearly full. Looking at his face. He's having. Is it ready? Are we running out of time?
Yeah.
All right. So we know medicine and surgery is not often the answer.
I'll stop interrupting.
Obviously, we've been through understanding your pain can be key. I had the book, I understood it, stuff like that. And we've actually been through a bit of recovery is possible, that you can actually recover. So that is all
also,
the key messages.
What's your page? Where's Guided by Kai?
On Instagram, and I'm also starting a podcast soon, going to be called the Guided by series, where I'm going to be talking to people about their life. 100%. You're all coming on, there's no doubt about that. 100%, and that's going to be
weekend in Manchester.
Yeah, oh, definitely. We'll have a party then as well.
There's some great gyms in Manchester.
I live next door to one, to be fair. So the Y Club, and there's some really there's a female bodybuilder I need to show you after this called Gabby. She's really cool actually. She does, and
cool.
There's a lot of people there, but I'm gonna let it wrap it up because otherwise more lads gonna have to get another SD card.
But before we go, I like to finish. I like a format.
She likes a structure.
I do. Okay. So anyway, so we know where to find you.
Indeed.
If you could, I know you've just gone through the messages, check me out, not rules, messages. If you could leave the listeners with a word of wisdom or the best advice, anything you would like to, I know I put the pressure on, but anything anything you'd like to leave them with, and then bomb.
You're stronger than you think. I think that the biggest thing to realise is that your ancestors that created you today survived the most crazy nightmares that you could ever imagine. And they did so, and they did that while maintaining families, while maintaining food, while building housing, while creating the society we live in today. If we can do all of that, you can get in control of your life and become an incredible success.
Can I just say one thing? You kind of just did a Winnie the Pooh quote.
Oh, did I? Go on. Where's the honey at?
It's like, yeah. It's
I'm
like
here.
it's something like you're stronger than you think, you're braver than you know, or something
Yeah,
like that.
no,
But
that's it.
I-
Well, Winnie the Pooh's onto
Winnie the
something
Pooh,
here. Yeah.
Just said it, yeah. But
100%.
Thank you so much.
Dude,
for
thanks
coming
so
on.
much.
Guys,
It's
it's been an
Thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Till next time, guys.
Peace.